So again, good evening, everyone. My name is Mr. Remiki, Remekie, and I am the examinations coordinator for Angel High School. That means that I deal with all external examinations. I deal with CSEC, or normally called CXC. I deal with CSEC. I deal with City and Guilds, and I also deal with, I assist someone else to deal with NCT vet, right? But most of all of this falls under my portfolio. So we are here today because, well, your children, those you take care of, they are in grade 10 and quickly finishing grade 10, because I'm sure you realize that it's just the other day they start grade 10 and already grade 10 is coming to an end. And then next year they are going to be jumping straight into their examination year, which is what we call final year, right? And as such, we have to make sure that our children are prepared in all ways and all aspects, because our plan, our aim, our goal for these students is that all of them will pass their exams. All of them will sit all the exams that they're supposed to be sitting, and all of them will pass the exams, and we won't have any issues at all. So we're here today to make sure that I am using all of my past experience with everything that I've learned from past experience with parents and exams and everything. This is how best I can give you the best advice and the best heads up as we approach this time, so that you can take the best action for your children to ensure that they are prepared, that they are registered and everything. So that is my aim here today. So first, I'm going to start off by giving you a little introduction to some of the examinations that we do, because I know that sometimes we hear about City and Guilds and we hear about CSEC, but we might not understand fully what they are and what they mean to us. So we're just going to have like a quick introduction and then we'll get into some discussions. All right. Right, so I'm hoping that you're seeing my screen now. So you should be seeing our school logo, Angel High School. All right, and we are going. All right. Right, so as Angel High School students, we try our best to ensure that all our students are registered to do all the exams that they are supposed to be doing come grade 11, right? That's their aim, and that is the only way that we can have any hope of them possibly going out into society and being productive. When they have their qualifications, when they have their skills, it makes them far easier to go out there and get a job, or to move on to a tertiary institution, or to own their own business, or whatever the case is, right? So our job here is to equip them as best as possible with all the possible resources that we are given. Some resources that we are given from the ministry, some we have to make up from the school, some we have to make up out of thin air. But either way, our job here is to ensure that it is done. All right. All right. So let's get into it. So at Angel High School, we offer grade 11 students 3 different examination bodies. All right. This is the first one, City and Guilds. The second one, the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, what is known as CSEC, what we used to call CXC, but it's CSEC, right? And then we offer NCT VET, which is the heart-based, skill-based examination, right? And we want to offer all 3 examinations to all our students, regardless of the class that they're in, right? All right. So let's look at each one of them. So first of all, City and Guilds examination is probably is a global, is an internationally rated um examination, right? City and Guilds is done by London, it's a London-based exam, but it is recognized internationally. If you go Africa, China, US, Canada, all over the world, City and Guilds is recognized, right? So here at Angel High School, we give students the opportunity to do mathematics, and the English language in City and Guilds, with some students even having an opportunity to do customer service, in City and Guilds, which is a great qualification, right? So let's be clear, all our students, all grade 11 students have an opportunity to do City and Guilds, whether in 11 I, N, S, W, H, G, L, M, N, or P, whatever the case is, all of them have an opportunity to do City and Guilds, both math and English, all right? So we encourage all of them to do, regardless of whether they're doing CSEC exams or not, all grade 11 students must do math and English, City and Guilds, all right? Then we have the CSEC, what we normally call the City and Guilds, what we normally call the CXC one. That one is based on the class that you're in. So there are some classes that, based on the class that they're in, they get to do 2 CSEC. And there are some classes that get to do all the way up to about 6 or 7 CSEC subjects. As I said, depending on the class that they're in and depending on the options that they choose. But either way, all students have an opportunity to do some amount of CSEC subjects, regardless of the class that they're in, right? All students, right? So all of them will be doing an IT-based subject, whether it be information technology, whether it be data operation, whether it be EDPM. All our students have an opportunity to do a computer-based subject, all right? So this is what we're trying to do. So at the end of the day, when your child graduates, when your child leaves Innsbruck High School, they should be leaving with qualifications in City and Guilds, qualifications in CXC, and qualifications in NCTVET. No, that makes them very, very marketable going out into the working world and further in their tertiary education, right? Most schools out there right now in Jamaica might only do 2 of these. They might only do CXC and the NCTVET, or they do CXC and City and Guilds. Very few schools are offering all 3 examination bodies, City and Guilds, CSEC, and NCTVET. So what we're doing at Innsbruck High School is something that many other schools don't do, right? So it's really something for these students, that when they go there, what this does for them is that it gives them a huge advantage over other students that they might be competing with for a job, or other areas that they might be competing to get into college or something like that, right? So it makes them very qualified and very marketable out there, right? And as I said before, all students have an opportunity to do all of these exams that we are showing you right here. All of them going to do City and Guilds math and English. All of them supposed to be doing a minimum of 2 CXC subjects, CSEC subjects, and all of them should be doing an NCTVET skill area. Skill area, these are like the woodwork and the electrical and the cosmetology and stuff like that. All of them have an opportunity to do all of these subjects here, all right? All right, and I'm going to invite you to ask some questions, but at a point, when we finish talking, I will invite you to ask as many questions as you want, and we will see how best we can get through all of the questions so that you are fully informed. But just allow me to go through the presentation, and then we can get to the question section, all right? So how we recommend students is that we naturally want all our students to do well, to do very well, right? But we have to have a process that we use to recommend the students, right? So first thing we do, we recommend them using the grades, right? These are the grades that they are achieving in grade 10 that they are doing right now from September to the end of the school year in June. So we're doing an accumulation of all of these grades, including how they have been performing in their exams, in their assignments, in their tests, in their homework and stuff like that. So naturally, if your child is doing all of their homework, all of their assignments, and they are passing their end of year examination, then it's a simple 1-2 for us to recommend them, right? Shouldn't be a problem. Naturally, the opposite also applies. If your child is not doing their assignment, not doing their classwork, not doing their homework, and failing their exams at the end of the day, then this is going to naturally create a problem for us to recommend them, right? And we can't take this lightly because it is something that is a serious consideration for us and for any school, because all schools have a recommendation process. So as much as we would want dearly to recommend every single student that is going into grade 11, the reality is that if they are not doing their work, I'm wondering if it makes sense to recommend them. So if your child is getting like 5 and 10%, 15% in a subject, would this make sense to recommend them? This is a conversation that we need to have, because we can look at it two ways. We can look at it as one, that they are not doing their work and they have their opportunity, and if they're not making them best at their opportunities, then we have to have a cutoff point. Or we can argue it and saying that there are some students that pick up late, right? So they might not be performing so well in grade 10, but give them opportunity when they get into grade 11, they might just shoot off and start doing very well, right? This is a conversation that we can have. The problem is that it makes it hard for us when we look at children who not doing their work, not doing their assignments, staying away from classes and things like that. It's hard for us to have the confidence to say, it's all right, man. When they reach grade 11, they're going to chip in and start doing some work. It's very hard for us to have that confidence, right? So it comes down now to how we feel about them, right? So we have to have some other considerations. We also look at their class attendance. If a child is attending classes, we know many times when you look at the report and you see a report and you say, you know, you're sending your child to school every single day. And when you look at the report, you see attendance for school is 100%. But you also need to look at the end of each subject to look at the attendance per class. Because if for the term there are 22 classes, and when you look at it, you only see that that child is attending 10 out of 22 classes. That shows that that child is naturally not going to be grasping everything that they need to be grasping from that class, because they are not attending classes. And to be very honest, that is a problem that we have at Intruder High School with some of these grade 10 students. They are not attending classes. Classes are in session in the areas that they are supposed to be, but the students, grade 10 students, are just walking around under the trees. You have to be constantly sending them to the area that they are supposed to be in. And I don't know if they are conscious of the fact that there's a register being marked for every single class that they are not present for. And at the end of the day, when we choose to ready to start doing these recommendations now, we have to look at the class attendance, right? We also have to look at the child's attitude toward the subject, because that plays an important factor. Because the reality of the matter is that a lot of times you have students that try at Intruder High School, we have some students that really try when it comes to doing their work. But the reality is that they might not be getting the 80s or even the 70s that they really want to. But at the end of the day, they are trying. They are every single class. They are doing their assignments. They are doing the homework. They are doing the exams. They are putting in their effort, but they might not be getting that 70, 80, 90, or 100. But at the end of the day, is that they are trying. And as teachers, we have to recognize this for all our students. Sorry. We recognize this for all our students, and we're not going to leave anyone behind. So if we see that they have a good attitude towards their subjects, we're going to try our best to recommend them. If we're seeing that they're attending their classes, we have to naturally try our best to see how we can recommend them, even if they are not getting the full grades as we said before. But the grades still play a factor. We can't ignore it. So if a child is getting 15 and 10 and 15%, like I have been seeing on many of the grade 10 reports that I've seen, this creates a problem, right? So we have to think of, no, how can we address this so that it won't become a problem when they get to grade 11, so that they can get recommended for these subjects. Because the reality is that we have about 2 more months left in the school year. So we can use this 2 months wisely to see how we can pick up on some grades. So if your child is conscious of what is happening here, then you need to go to the teacher to find out, how can I pick up on some of these grades? Which assignments didn't I do? Can I still do them? Right? How are my preparations coming into the end of year exam? Because I know that we're going to have some end of year exams again in June, right? So if you are failing the ones in semester 1, you naturally have to be picking up in semester 2. Because sometimes we do some comparisons. If we see that the child wasn't performing in one semester, but they're picking up in one semester, then we can consider that. But if you see that they're failing in one semester and they're continuously going down in another semester, then this is where it becomes a little bit tricky for the students and for us trying to recommend them, right? So just letting you know, these are some of the factors that we look for. We are looking for the grades that the child is achieving in class, on report, in exams. We're looking for the child's attendance to class, and we're looking at the attitude that the child has towards the subject. All right. This is a sample, one of our old reports. I don't think the new one looks like this, but this is one of the old reports. So this is just done as an example to show you. When you are looking at your child's report, right? And for a final mark, if you're seeing subject grades like this, that's going to be a problem. If you're seeing grades like 34 that they're getting in maths right here, so that's going to be a problem, right? So these are some of the things that we are looking for. We need to make sure that the students are getting proper grades. As I said, they don't have to be getting the 100s, but as long as they're trying and showing progress in what they're trying, then we can work with that. All right. So when you collect, I'm hoping that by this stage you would have collected your child's report for semester 1. So when you look at the grades that are on semester 1, that should give you an indication of the performance of your child and exactly what is going to happen when they get to grade 11. So you need to use this as a guideline to see how you need to plan forward for your child, or areas or weaknesses that you think that you need to pick up on for your child. All right, very, very, very important. All right, good. So let's talk a little bit more about the City and Guilds exams. The City and Guilds exams are done in June of the grade 11 year. All right, how do students get recommended or get registered for the subject? First of all, in September of grade 11, in our case, it might be around September 15, thereabout, in that second week of school. In the second week of school, as they get back in grade 11, they're required to do a diagnostic test. And the grades that they get for this diagnostic test will determine which stage we place them in, right? So if they are getting between, I think it's 80 to 100 or 70 to 100, they are placed in stage 3. If they are getting 50 to 70, they are placed in stage 2. And the students that are getting less than 50 are placed in stage 1, right? In this case, stage 3 is the highest because that is 70 to 100. And 50 to 70 is stage 2, and below 50 is stage 1. So naturally, we don't want to be in stage 1, right? So the diagnostic test that we're going to be giving them, they need to be getting greater than 50. Pardon my writing. I'm trying to write it on most here, so just pardon the bad writing. So they need to be getting greater than 50% in this exam so that they can get recommended for stage 2 or stage 3, right? The cost for this, well, before we get into the cost, the stage 3 here, if they are getting recommended at stage 3, that is the equivalent of CXC. So if they're getting recommended at the Maths City and Guilds stage 3, that is the equivalent of CSEC Maths, right? If they're getting recommended for English at stage 3, that is the equivalent or the same level as CSEC Maths. So what that means is that if your child wants to go to university, UTech, MICO, NCU, any one of these tertiary institutions, if they get recommended to do math or English at stage 3, these stage 3 will take them into any university in Jamaica right now. MICO, UTech, NCU, Maritime, all of them. Stage 3 Maths and English City and Guilds will take them into tertiary institutions, right? Stage 2 will get them a job. Stage 2 won't get them into tertiary institution, but you can get them a job with that. Call center works, police force, JDF, stuff like that. Stage 2 can get them into that. Stage 1, I'm not looking at stage 1 because stage 1 is kind of a simpler, kind of a breakdown of the exam. So I'm not looking at stage 1 for any student. I'm hoping that every single student will be getting 50 or more, right? Ideally, placing the stage 3. And remember, it is the grades that these students get in this exam in the first week of September that I use to place them in a stage. So if they get 70% or more, we place them in stage 3 to sit the exams. If they get 50 to 70, we place them in stage 2 to sit the exams. All right. And it is only students that do this exam, meaning that all grade 11 students must turn up for school the first week of September so that they can get the information that they need to sit this exam. If they miss that, because I know a lot of times with some of our students, for some reason or the other, they tend to miss the first 2 or 3 weeks of school in September, and then they turn up at the end of September to early October, ready for school at that time. If you come to school at that time, you would have missed this experience altogether. And by that time, all of these names would have gone up already for registration, and your child won't get the opportunity to sit this exam. So they must be at school in the first week of grade 11 to sit these exams. These are not internal exams, these are external exams. The grades from these are going to the Ministry of Education and to City and Guilds to create the registration. So Insular School will not have no control over this. So do not turn up in October and tell us that you are a foreign or you did the country or wherever on earth you are. For the first week of September, you must find yourself back to Jamaica, back to Insular School, so that you can do these exams, so that we can register you. If you allow this opportunity to pass, we can't do anything about it. It's out of our hands. All right. The cost for these exams are as follows. It's about £27 because I tell you it's an England-based exam. So it's £27 for English, £27 for maths. £27 is just about $5,000. They're about $5,000. And there's a local fee that OEC, Overseas Examination Commission, charges of $2,500 per exam. So that works out to about $8,000, round up to $8,000 for each of these exams. So this is going to be about $8,000 for maths, $8,000 for English, right? And all our students have to do these exams, right? But we have some news about this, but I will tell you in a second. I'm not going to talk about it just yet. So bear in mind, again, parents, you hear much time I emphasize this. I'm emphasizing this because based on experience, every year students turn up in October and they just feel like they have to get the opportunity to do the exams. And we'll tell them that these exams are passed, they already do the exam and send off already. They are devastated because they didn't know and they're going to say they don't know. That's why we're telling you from now, so that you can put whatever preparations you need to put in place. Grade 11 students need to be at school for the first week of school in September so that they can prepare themselves for this exam. As it sounds, it might sound a little bit unfair because they're coming back in the first week of September for a major exam, right? And they're not going to have a lot of time to do any preparation. So what this simply means here, parents, is that it falls on you. So when you're at home during that July to August break, them can get a little break in July to relax and whatever the case is. But by the time it gets to August, they need to start doing some practicing, especially on the maths, for the maths and the English, they need to start doing some practicing in that time. Usually we are able to send out virtually some past papers for them to start practicing. This means that they need to take some serious time to start preparing, because what is going to happen is that if they stop work, if they stop doing exams in June and they go on vacation or summer holidays or whatever, and then to come back into our exam, naturally they are not going to perform as well as they should, right? So it's up to you guys who are going to have them at home during August to tell them that, all right, break is up, it's time to get back into schoolwork, especially because you're going into grade 11 as an exam year. You have to start this preparation from early, right? So students need to start doing this preparation so that when they come back, they can maximize their chances of passing this exam, all right? All right, let's go again. So, as I said, we want to ensure that students are getting stage 2 or stage 3 for this exam. We're not entertaining anything under 50%, all right? We're working with stage 2 and stage 3, right? Now, the beautiful thing about this is that the Ministry of Education has an arrangement with City and Guilds that they will pay for students who are getting registered as stage 2 or stage 3. So if your child is getting over 55% in this mock exam that they're going to do for City and Guilds and they get placed in stage 2 or stage 3, the government will pay this $8,000 for maths fee and that $8,000 for English fee. So what that means is that you're going to be saving about $16,000 right there just on City and Guilds alone. If you get below 50% and you get placed in stage 1, you're going to have to find that $16,000 out of your pocket to pay for it. All right. but the government will pay for all students doing City and Guilds who gets 50% or more, which are placed in stage 2 or stage 3 for both the maths and the English exam. They will pay for it for you, just like that. All you have to be doing is getting more than 50%. Ideally, be getting 70% so that it can be placed in stage 3. All right? Think about that for a second. All right? So that's $16,000 paid for you right there. So good. So this is one of the advantages that many of our students have been enjoying over the years. When they get placed in stage 2 or stage 3, the government pay fee. Them don't have to worry about it again. All they have to do is focus on passing the exam. All right. So this is one of the benefits. This is one of the subsidy that the Ministry of Education will provide for your child doing external exam. They will pay for stage 2 and stage 3 for both maths and English. All right. And if your child is doing office administration in CXC, then they get a chance to do customer service, City and Guilds, and the government will pay for that one for you as well, as long as you're getting the grades that you're supposed to. All right. So that is some excellent news right there. So we can look forward to that. All right. Let's go again. All right. Now we get to the CSEC examinations, right? This is one we normally call CXC. All right. So
I forgot what to find him. Oh, come on.
Cost for last year. So this should be 2022 to 2023. So the cost for last year, I have placed the cost that we got from CXC for last year, right? Bear in mind, all costs that you see here are tied to the US currency. That is how CXC do it. Because it's from Barbados and they use US dollars here. So all charges that they make are in US currency, right? So every year when the US currency goes up, the costs for CXC go up, all right? Which means that it go by about $500 for each exam per year or something like that. So let's look at what we have here. Let me see if we can do a breakdown for you. So for your child doing CXC, to register, just to register, they have to pay $5,445 to register to do CXC, right? And then they pay an additional $4,405 per subject, right? So they pay a one-time fee, $5,445 to register with CXC, and then they pay per subject after that, $4,405 per subject, right? In addition to that, there are some practical costs. So if your child is doing clothing and textile, they will pay an additional $1,420. If they're doing food and nutrition, they pay an additional $1,420. If they're doing physical education, they pay an additional $3,000 for that subject. All right. So let me do a little breakdown for you. So if your child is doing only, let's say 2 subjects, if the child is doing only 2 subjects, that's going to be a registration fee plus subject fee for the 2 subjects. Registration fee, as I said before, $5,445. And then per subject is $4,405. So if they're doing 2 subjects, that will come up to about $14,255. Thereabouts. Bear in mind, these are just some approximate figures. Next year, when your child gets to grade 11, these figures are going to change because it's going to be a little bit more than this. All right, so just bear that in mind. All right, if your child is doing up to 5 subjects, that money is going to go to about $27,471. And then, like into high school, where there are many students who are doing up to 8 subjects, right away for these 8 subjects, you're looking at about $40,000 and some change. Right, just to the 8 subjects. Plus, if one of those 8 subjects is PE, they have to pay the practical fee. So you'd have to pay extra $3,000. Again, if one of those 8 subjects that they're doing is food and nutrition, they pay an additional $1,420. So as you can see for yourself, parents, these fees add up quickly. Just the 2 subjects alone is $14,000 and some change. Many students going to be doing up to 7 subjects, 7 CXC subjects, CSEC subjects. So you're looking at $30-something thousand right there. So it adds up quickly, right? So which is part of why we are having this meeting here today, because we know that many times when we draw these figures on parents in September morning or October, close to the deadline for paying for CXC for these exams, they are overwhelmed and they can't find the money. Because to find $36,000, $40,000, it's not easy. I know it's not easy. You understand? Many parents need time to put this money together, because some parents will have to get a loan, some parents will have to do like a partner draw, a round robin. Over the years, I have been supporting so many round robins just to support some of these parents. Sometimes it's not even funny to see the struggles that these parents go through to find the money to pay for these exams, right? And the thing about it is, because these are external exams, we at Insular High School, we don't have any control over it. So when CXC give their deadline and they say they want it by middle of November, it have to pay by middle of November. As you're going to find that you're going to have to pay late fees plus whatever you're supposed to pay in the first place, or many times they can't register again or whatever the case is. We don't want that for any child, right? We know that you have been working with your child hard from basic school to primary school to high school, and we want the best opportunities to them. So we need to ensure that they are in a position where they are prepared properly, and prepared by studying, and also prepared by having the money upfront when this money become due, right? So I'm going to tell you now, so CXC fees are due by the first week in November of grade 11. So by the first week in November of grade 11, you would have to find whatever fees it come up to pay for these exams. Whether you're ready or not, whether you have it or not, we have to find it. Insular High School, at Insular High School, well, you know Insular High School, we just started, this is about 22 years now. This is not a very old school, so we don't have a strong past student association to sponsor some of our students, right? As a matter of fact, I'm sure that as we speak now, many of you listening right now could possibly be past students, right? So we know that you're not out there rich or anything. We know that it's still a struggle many times. So we understand that it might take a little work and effort to get this money together. So we're telling you from now, organize yourself. We don't have any resources that we can pay for students for you. Into that school, we don't have those resources, right? When we tell you how much money you have to pay, it's that amount of money you must pay. We don't have control over it. We don't have a system right now where you can come in and pay part and then come back next time and pay the other part. We don't have a system like that, right? We tried it already, it never worked, because what happened is that parents pay part, they don't come back and pay the other part, but in their head they feel like they paid for the exam. So when we can't register that child, it becomes a problem, because the parent feel like they didn't pay, and it becomes a problem, right? CXC is not going to accept part payment for any exam. If it come up to $10, you have to pay the full $10. If we don't pay the full amount to them on behalf of you, your child will not get registered, and we don't want a situation like that, right? So we're telling you from now, these are how some of the exams going to come up. So you see already City and Guilds by itself can cost you about $16,000. For 8 subjects with CSEC, that might run you an next $40,000. So right away, you're looking at about 50 something, almost $60,000 to pay for exams alone. And I know these figures right now are sending chills up some of your spines, but it's the reality of the situation. That's why we need you guys to be as prepared as possible. That's why we need you guys to also make the best advantage of the offers that the ministry have when they're giving subsidy. So you see that previous cemetery say with City and Guilds, if they get stage 2 or stage 3, the government will pay for them. Make the best of these advantages. Don't sit and watch yourself fail and then make your parents have to go find the money out of their pocket. If the ministry is paying for City and Guilds, if you get over 50%, make sure you're getting over 50%. That's all you need to do. Save your parents this whole money where they have to spend. All right? So now, much like City and Guilds, there is an advantage. There's a light at the end of the tunnel for CSEC exams, right? So the ministry they have a subsidy program in place for CSEC. So let's look at that. First, so the government, the subsidy is a contribution that the government will pay, right? First thing, the child must be recommended by the teacher, right? I will already go through the recommendation procedures. I will tell you that you have to be attending classes and making effort and all of that. So we know that you have to be doing these things. Next thing, the child must not be over 18 years old. So in grade 11, I don't anticipate that any child will be over 18 years old. I don't anticipate that. It must be the first time that they are sitting exams in grade 11. So what this means is that if the child was at another school in grade 11 and they benefited from subsidy at that school, they can't come into that school and get the subsidy over again. Because a lot of times you have students who graduate from a grade 11 at another school, but for some reason they come back into that school at grade 11 to do a repeat, they can't get the subsidy again if that is what they're doing. All right, just letting you know. And then the child must be in grade 11 or 12. And most importantly, the child must be getting 55% or more in any subject in grade 10 in order to get the subsidy. Right? So let's look at that a little bit closer. So for CSEC, we're talking about CSEC, City and CSEC, CXC CSEC, right? The government will pay for mathematics for you. They will pay for English language for you. They will also pay for information technology or EDPM. All students do either EDPM or information technology or data operation. But in this case, they will pay for information technology or EDPM, and they will pay for one science subject. So right there, that is 4 subjects that the Ministry of Education will pay for you to sit your CSEC examinations, right? That's mathematics, English language, information technology or EDPM, and they will also pay for one science subject, right? But you must ensure that your child is getting more than 55% in these subjects, right? As long as they're getting 55% in the maths, English, IT, EDPM, or one science subject, then the government will pay for this subject for you. So for 4 subjects, that is what, 4,000, about 5,000, that is almost $20,000 worth of savings right there. So if your child is doing their work and getting more than 50% at the end of the year in maths, over 55% in English, over 55% in IT or EDPM, and over 55% in one science subject, the government will pay for those 4 subjects for you. That's about $20,000 savings right there. So if you're doing your work, right? Bear that in mind. So just let that sit a little bit so that you understand. If you're not getting the 55% or more in these subjects, you're going to have to pay for it out of your pockets, right? So just understand clearly. All right. The next good news for CSEC students is that if your child is on path, the government will pay for up to 8 subjects for you. If your child is on path, the government will pay for up to 8 subjects. Any 8 subjects that you're doing, including the registration costs, including the practical fees, the government will pay for 8 subjects for you if your child is on path. But your child, again, must be getting for each subject, they must be getting over 55% in order to get the subsidy, right? Government not giving away anything free, you know. So long as a child is getting over 50% in all of their subjects, maths, English, IT, science, POB, accounts, you name it, any 8 subjects that they're getting over 55% in, the government will pay for it if they are a path student, meaning that they are on path. We know that a lot of times some of these students were on path in primary school, but for whatever the case is, them drop off. If you're unsure of your child's path status right now, best thing to do is go down by the path office, see if you can get a letter, an updated letter that shows that they are on path. I know that the school has a list of students, but I know that sometimes that list isn't updated. So sometimes there might be students on that who are on path, but they are not on that list. So if I don't have their name on that list, I can't send them up to get the subsidy. So you would have to pay for the exam. So if you know that your child is on path, make sure that you have that path letter ready. Let me tell you, I don't want to see some of the parents have this receipt, this like a receipt, and if you have 3 children, have all the 3 names on it and stuff like that. Sometimes it's outdated, but some parents still carry come. So I don't want to see that like a receipt thing. We get from the post office, I don't want to see that. Just get a letter from the path office that's going to have your child's name on it and going to confirm and going to say John Brown is a past student from Angel High School and they're eligible for whatever. Get that letter. And in grade 11, when I tell you to carry it come, you can carry it come. And that will show us that your child is on path, and then we can apply the subsidy for your child. Right? So if your child is on path, they're going to be getting up to 8 CXC subjects paid for them, as long as they're getting 55% or more in those subjects. So what that means is that if the child is doing 8 subjects, but only 4 subjects they're getting 55% or more in, then the government will pay for those 4 subjects, and you will pay for the other 4. That's what it means. If you're getting only 1 subject with 55% or over, then the government is going to only pay for 1 subject. All right? If you're not getting any at all, because a lot of time parents come on there and tell me that them picking up on part and enough to pay the money. It's not that them enough to pay. There's a criteria. The child must be performing. So as long as the child is performing and getting over 55% or more, I have no problem sending them for the subsidy. All right? All right. So now you might be wondering, how do I know who is getting what? So at the beginning of grade well, let me not talk about it. I'll soon tell you about it. I'll soon tell you about how I know all of who's going to get recommended. All right? Let me just tell you now. So at the end of at the beginning of grade 11, I'm going to send out a letter that looks similar to this. And it's going to show all of the subjects that your child is doing, and it's going to show which ones they are getting the subsidy for. So for example, in this case for this child is doing 7 subjects, right? At the time, the subject cost was about $3,000, so don't watch it. This is $4,000, so you know. Beside it, it will show a Y if they're getting the subsidy, and it will show an N if you're not getting the subsidy. So for the ones with Y, you won't have to pay for those subjects. You would only pay for the ones that have the N, right? So when your child returns to school in September, they will get this letter, and this letter will show them exactly which subjects they're doing, which subjects they're getting subsidy for, and it will show them at the bottom of the screen like this exactly how much money they are supposed to pay. So let me just do a quick breakdown. So originally, for example, this child was supposed to pay $35,000. With the subsidy, because we have some wide because some of the subjects. So with the subsidy amount came up to 15,000. So eventually at the end, that child will end up paying 20,000 instead of 35,000. So your child will get a letter like this with their information on it. It will show their class, their first name, last name, date of birth, email address. It will be customized for them. So it's going to only show their information, and it's going to show exactly how much money they are supposed to pay for their exam, right? They will get this in early grade 11. I'm matter of fact, hopefully by the time as they come back to school in grade 11, they will get this document, and this document will show them all of that. So they will get one. So in September now, let's get it. In September is a very busy time for these students. They will get to do their City and Guilds diagnostic test, which is going to place them to be registered in stage 2 or stage 3, right? And they're going to collect this document, which is going to show them all of the CSEC subjects that they're doing. And the grades that we use to recommend them are going to be from their last report that they did in grade 10, which is going to be in June. So all of the grades that they get from that, so if they're getting 80% in information technology, then it means that more than likely they're going to get recommended, and they're going to get the subsidy. If they're getting 35% in English, They're not going to get the subsidy, and it's a possibility that they won't get recommended as well, right? Let me tell the parents, it can happen. There are times when students get to grade 11, and because they have not been performing any at all, because they've not been attending any classes, they don't see their name on any subject. So when they they don't get a paper like this. Because when they come and ask, sir, with my name there, when I bring it up and look at it, it's blank. And naturally, I'm not going to print a blank document and give a child. So when they come to me and I explain to them that, look, over grade 10, you have not been performing. And when I pull up the grades and show them that, look, in grade 10, these are the grades that you were getting. So the teachers didn't feel that you're fit enough to be recommended for these subjects. Then them start to ball and behave like say Injured are the worst place ever. And like we are disadvantaged them and then tell them parents, and the parents come down there and cause we are disadvantaged them, whatever the case is. No. You know what the situation was. You know that you're coming to school. You know that you're supposed to be achieving these grades, and you know that these grades are what goes towards recommending you. So when you don't see certain things happen, it can't be our fault because you know what the situation is. So you naturally know you can't be hiding from classes, hiding from assignments, hiding from coursework and things like that, not doing anything at all. And then at the end of the day, you're expected that you're going to get a full sheet with all subjects. That's not how it works. Right? And then naturally, if you're going to be coming to school every day, but you're not doing any exams at all, they're going to find themselves in trouble every day till eventually they're going to get to find out the ultimate trouble and they're going to get kicked, which we don't want. We don't want that. We want all of these students to be doing all of the subjects that they are registered to do. But the only way that we can do this is if they are doing their part. So if they do their part, we get to do our part. It's not going to be a magic show. We're not going to put any magic tricks. We're working with the grades that you bring forward. So any grade that you see us use to recommend that a sheet like this is the grades that you achieve. All right. So parents, at this stage, you should know, because I'm hoping that you would have collected the report already, so you should know where your child stands. When you look at the report, are you seeing that your child will be getting some of these subsidies that I'm talking about? Are you seeing that your child is going to be recommended for all the subjects that they need to? Because these are some serious conversations that you need to have with your child. No, don't wait till September morning when you're getting a blank sheet. Talk to them about it now. See what can be done about it now, and not then. Right? Let me give you a quick update. I've been talking to some of the grade 10 teachers. Some of them so far, for CSEC, all subjects that are done in CSEC carry a SBA. And I'm sure you've heard this term before. A SBA is an assignment that is done within the school. It is done within the school by the students, it is marked by the teachers, and then it is sent to CXC for a second marking. Every single CSEC subject, maths, English, IT, EDPM, human and social bio, you name it, all of them must do a school-based assessment, a SBA. So every single student must do a SBA for each subject that they're going to be doing in grade 11. So most of our teachers so far has already started the SBA with the students from grade 10, because we want to give them the best opportunity. If we start SBA from grade 10, we can finish the SBA by early grade 11. That way we can finish up the syllabus quick, and we can move on to exam preparation by January of grade 11. So we give them the SBAs from now. When I'm talking to like the theater arts teacher told me that she gave her students theater arts. She gave her students the SBAs, and she's saying that about 3 students are only have done the SBA so far. Right? We talked to some of the other teachers, and they're saying that they want to give the SBAs, but their students are just not performing at the level that they're supposed to be performing right now. That's why they're hesitating to give them already. Let me give you my story. I teach information technology. I teach information technologies to 10I, 10S, and 10N. So far, I've given the SBA to 10I and 10S. Out of all the students in 10I that do information technology, some of them do EDPM, some of them do information technology. So for those who do the information technology, I gave them the SB about a month and a half ago with some steps to complete. I gave them some videos for them to watch on my YouTube channel. I gave them a link for some videos and I said, do this for step one, this for step. It's like a guide to do the SBA. So they're supposed to be doing task 1, 2, 3, and 4 and do a brochure. Out of 10I, it's about 2 students alone must show me the work already. Out of about 25 students who are in 10I for information technology, 2 students alone show me the work already. Most of the other students every day is excuses. Sir, the computer now work. Sir, I never remember. Sir, I do it and I left it. To me, these are excuses because the computers in the lab are there. They can come there any break time and do it. For 10S, it's about the same 25 students are having information technology for 10S. And out of the whole of 10S, I think maybe about 10 students are doing what they are supposed to be doing at this stage. Remember, these are CXC students, and you get something as important as an SBA, and 2 out of 25 students for the next class is 10, and about 9 or 10 out of 10S that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And the other students are there, they're there every day. What they do is they don't come to class. So like today, when they have some important pieces to submit for me to mark on the SBA, they don't come to class. But they want to be recommended come grade 11 because the reality is that all of them have big dreams, all of them want to be doctors and lawyers and soldiers and all these great things, but they don't see the importance of doing this work. Now, if these students are not doing the SBA now, what they are showing me is that they are not going to be ready to do the subject when they get to grade 11. So it's not just the SBA, there are other assignments that they don't do. So if they're not doing some of the assignments, if they're failing the final exam and they're not doing any SBA, let them tie in my hand. They might make it hard for me to recommend them. And bear in mind, parents, these are students who may talk to regularly about this. They know what they need to do. The computer labs are there during the break time. They know that they can come there and use the computers. But they choose to sit outside and talk and lavish and chat outside every day and not do what they're supposed to do. And when I come down hard now on them and tell them that, look, I'm not recommending because they're not doing any work and make it look like so we are cruel. When it's not the case. There are simple things that they need to do as students in this stage in their lives. And this is to just do the work that they are supposed to do. When I talk to the other teachers, I'm getting the same feedback. Some doing the work, but the majority not doing the work. Right? And this is grade 10. This is this CXE is a 2-year process. This is the first year of their CXE. And this is the kind of behavior that they have. Now, parents, I don't know if this is what reflects at home. Maybe when they're at home, they are the sweetest children and they sit down and they're doing work and all of these things. But we're not seeing it reflected at school. But let me not be negative because the reality is that there are some students who are doing some great job that are really performing and making us proud. And even without even looking at my register, I can look at some students and say, yes, these students are definitely going to be recommended, right? But I'm concerned about the ones that are not performing because next year I am the exam coordinator. I am the one who have to look at these grades and then based on the grades determine who we're going to send up and whatever the case is. And it breaks my heart when I see students who have opportunities in life like this to pass their exams, to do some great things with their life, and just because them too, can I say it, just because them too argue sometimes, they make the opportunities pass. And this is not what we want for them. So parents, I appeal to you, have these discussions with them, please. Have these serious discussions. Let them understand that, look, this is not the time to joke. The next year plus couple of months are some serious times that must be used to pass the exams. And it can't be a joke thing. All right, so after 7 now, I never want to go so late, but let me see if I can wrap up quickly. So some of the issues that we're having right now with our students, let me just talk about this quickly and then I can give you an opportunity to ask some questions. So some of the problems that we have with our students is, one, some of them don't have the parental support. And it's not just this year, it's a long time now in the past. A lot of some parents register the child in grade 7 and they turn up back for graduation in grade 11. And we don't see or hear from them anytime in between. So if we have a PTA meeting, they don't turn up. We have report day, they don't turn up. The only time they turn up to school is if the child is in a problem, they're getting a fight or a situation like that. And that cannot be the case. If you have a child that is supposed to be performing and doing their best in school, you need to be checking in, finding out how are they performing. When we have report days, these are times when you can come and talk to all of the teachers and get the feedback. You're in a group. If you're in a grade 10 WhatsApp group like this, where all of the teachers, most of the teachers are in that grade 10 WhatsApp group, you can reach out to us, ask to talk to the IT teacher, ask to talk to the EDPM teacher. Some teachers, understandably, prefer their privacy, so they don't want their numbers out there. But there are some teachers who are more than willing to talk to you guys, but you're not reaching out, right? We need a parental support, especially at this stage when they are trying to get recommended to sit some exam and to go into the process of doing exam into next year. They probably need you know more than ever before. So we're asking your parents, step up. We know that many of you have been there, pulling the reins all along, doing a great job, but we're asking the others, please step up. Please step up, right? We are sad that many of our students don't have a plan for their future. They don't have a plan going forward. Many times when I ask these students, what do you want to do when you graduate from high school? Your first comment is going to be that they are going to resit subjects that they fail. No, if I ask you what you're going to do when you graduate from high school and you're telling me that you're going to resit subjects that you fail, that simply means that you already make up in your mind that you plan to fail some subjects. At this stage in the game, you already make up in your mind. That can't be the case. Parents, let's have some good discussion with our students. And parents, if you don't know how to talk to them, you can reach out to us because we have the training, we know how to talk to them. So find out from them, what are your interests? Don't make them tell us all of them want on soldier and police. Everybody can't on soldier and police. There are many industries out there that need workers. Information technology, accounting, business, architecture, engineering, nursing, you name it, there are many careers out there. Find out what it is that they want to do. Find out the subjects needed to get into these areas that they want to do. Find out which college or university in Jamaica offer the subjects that they need. So if they want to be a programmer, a computer programmer, find out how much subject UTech need to get in. You need maths, English, IT, and 2 other subjects. 5 subjects to get into UTech. They can go start a computer training at UTech and be the greatest programmer after that. Have a plan. And the plan is not to say that this is what you must become in life, but what it does is offers a direction in which you're going to go. Because your plan can change at any point. You might say you want to do computer, but then when you start to decide that you want to do business instead of accounting or whatever, but you have to have a plan. You can't just approach life blindly. All right. One of the next things students do, lack of time management skills. Students are at school wasting a lot of times. A lot of times I give them worksheets to go home and do, and every class is coming back with it half complete, quarter complete, in many cases not even complete. Now when them don't complete it, them say, sir, I finish it, but I left it at home. I say, all right, fine, the next class I come back, them left it again. The next class, rain wet it up, and these excuses just go on and on. Because they're not finding the time to do the things that they're supposed to do. So I don't know if it's a case that parents, it's a case that when they're at home, you're giving them too much housework. I know that a lot of times some of them have to take care of their little brother and their little sister and stuff like that. Is it that you're giving them too much to do that they don't have enough time to do their schoolwork? Because remember that at this stage, their schoolwork should be their priority, right? So we want to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So give them a little bit more time. Maybe them can't stay in the shop as long as they want them to. Them can't take care of little sister as long as they want to. Because they have little work to do. Give them the time. They need it. All right. The lack of effort in completing classes, come back to the time management skill, because a lot of times students are presenting assignments and worksheet to me, presenting it to me to mark half incomplete. That makes no sense. I don't give work to do tonight and expect it tomorrow. I give them a week or 2 weeks to go home and do. So I give them enough time and I know so them can spend some time and get it done. And then when they don't do what they are supposed to do now, they move on to the next step here, so which is they start to settle for failure. They start accepting failure. When they don't do the assignment and they fail, they just accept it. They don't seem bothered by it. They don't seem broken by it. They don't seem disturbed like, geez, I'm going to fail the last two tests and I'm going to need to do harder. When they fail a test, when they do a test and fail, they just make some casual comment like, oh, never think me never pass already, So it's all right. And some little stuff like that. That is not acceptable. I'm not saying they must kill themselves if they fail, but they must feel something inside that tell them that, yeah, look, something wrong right here. So many need to be motivated. Many need to get on top of this. Something different needs to be done. It can't just be, I am feeling, and they continue to accept it like that. There are many students now who, if they get a test and they get 50% on this test, they celebrate because they feel like they are passed. And to me, honestly, 50% is not a pass mark. 50% means that you only know half of everything that you're supposed to know. That's what 50% is. So let's think of it for a second. If we go peace out, and you pay for your to go to $3,000, you pay for your large pizza with everything on it, you jump in your car and you go home. And when you reach home, you open the box and you realize that only half of the pizza inside there. Would you just smile and say, at least a half right in there, and just eat the half and sit down? No, you're going to raise hell, you're going to jump back in your vehicle, you're going to drive, go back a pizza out, and you're going to raise hell with the next part of your pizza that you pay your money and whatever the case is. So isn't your education the same thing? If you're spending all this money on your education and you're only producing half of what you're supposed to be achieving, isn't that something to make up some noise about? I don't know. Would you accept 50% of anything that you're getting? If you get 50% of your pay, a World War III start, come and no one accept that. So why would you accept 50% from a child? If you go to the doctor office, and when you look on them wall, you see him certificate them, doctorate in gynecology or whatever them do. And on that certificate, you see 50%. Would you sit down in that doctor office same way? Because what that means is that him only know half of everything I'm supposed to know. Suppose him don't know the half to save your life. How that will work? You understand? We can't accept 50%. I'm not saying it's not an effort, it's an effort and you tried, but it's not supposed to be something that you're proud with and you sit down and you accept. It's supposed to be a point from which you grow. So the first thing you get 50, the next thing you're supposed to get 55, 60, 65 are up because you're naturally trying harder and harder as you go. It can't be that you get 50% and you feel happy and you sit down and you're done because you feel like you're good, right? So this is something that we need to talk to our students, our children about, right? The inconsistent attendance, it hurts the children when they are absent so often. Many times tests, work, assignments are done and they are not at school or they are not at class. By the time they turn up back for class, so much has been done. And for a teacher in our class with 45 students sometimes, it is near impossible for us to reteach something midway just because your child wasn't there. It's not that we wouldn't want to help them, but when a child comes and says, sir, I'm never there for 3 weeks, how do I help that child? I can't sit down and teach 3 weeks short of lesson. You understand? They must make an effort, and if they're not at school, it must be for a good reason. It must be a genuine reason, and they must be communicating. So right now, I have a WhatsApp group for these grade 10s, for my IT grade 10 students, that I post the notes, and I post all of the notes that we'll be doing from September. Every single piece of work I will do, it's in that WhatsApp group. So if they are not at school, they're supposed to be studying same way. I post everything about the SBA that we're doing in that WhatsApp group. So if they're not at school, they know exactly what to do anyway. So when they come and they tell me that they don't know what to do and they never do it and whatever, it's hard for me to accept it sometimes. And next point that we need to look at is the low SBA score. We start SBA from now, from grade 10. There's absolutely no reason on earth that a child should be getting a failing score for our SBA. SBA is something that they give to me or they show me and I correct and I tell them to go on, continue to the next step. So if they're doing task 1, I look at task 1, I mark it, I'm satisfied, go on to task 2. marked and satisfied. They go on to each piece, I look at it and mark it, so it's perfect pieces building. But when they're not doing what they're supposed to do, sometimes I give them correction to make and then come back the next time and I'm showing back the same exact something I give them. Nothing change. That don't make no sense. The SBA is a percent of their final exam score. So students that are registered to do CXC, all of them have to do a SBA. And the SBA is like between 30 to 50% of their final exam mark. So what happens is that CXC has a system. CXC is a system where they do 3 papers for each exam. They do a paper 1, which is multiple choice. They do a paper 2, which is the written short answer paper. And the paper 3 is considered to be the SBA. So if your child do the multiple choice paper 1 and then get 100%, and then do the paper 2 and then get 100%, if they did not do the SBA any at all, it's an automatic fail for them. CXC going to automatically fail them because they didn't do the SBA, they didn't do the paper 3. You have to do the SBA, and not only have to do it, they need to increase their chances of passing their CXC by getting a good SBA grade. So if every time I give you a correction to do, just do it. So that by the time the SBA time is due, you should have 100% for your SBA and you're ready to move forward with the exams. All right? Peer to adequately prepare for exam, that have to do the home studying, them need to get on top of that. And disciplinary problem. Parents, I don't know if you're aware of this, there are such a grade 10 students that are just creating havoc in the school. The principal and the dean right now have some system in place where they are assessing their situations, and naturally they're going to take them to the board to have them expelled. No, this shouldn't be the case for any young child, young student right now, 15, 16 years old, getting kicked out of an institution because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So we have to worry about what is going to happen to them after that. Find out from your children, please talk to your children, come to the school and find out what is happening. Is your child a part of that situation? Do you even know if your child is a part of that situation? Because a lot of time we send for the parents and the parents don't turn up any at all. And then one day we bought them and then pretend like they never know nothing about it. So these are some of the issues that we're having right now with our students. We want all of them to pass, to do their best. So we're asking for your help in preparing them, get them on board, right? I showed you some prices a while ago. I'm hoping that you're paying attention so that when we get to September and at that stage, you'll be fully prepared. If you know that you're not going to have the money, make sure so your child is performing so that they will at least benefit from some of these subsidies, right? Either way, I always tell the parents, have all of the money September morning. When you get that paper, if the paper is, so if you know, say your child has 8 subjects, have a $50,000 put on. September morning, if when you get the paper from me, it shows say you don't need to pay 50, you only need to pay 20,000, then so let it be. You save 30,000 right there, so or you can donate it back to the school if you so desire. You understand? But be prepared. Please, we don't have any system in place to pay for students out of the school pocket. We don't have the setup there. So you're going to have to find the money. That's why we're telling you from now. So you have all of May, June, July, August, September, October, 6 months. Put something aside before you go buy the clocks, come back to school September, before you buy the transport, before you go buy the new iPhone and them something there. Put some money aside to pay for these exams. So when we get to this stage, you won't have any issue at all. At this time, I'm going to ask you to use the raise hand feature, and you can ask any question that you have, and I'll try my best to answer it, and then we can wrap up shortly because we don't want to take this too late. All right. All right. So, are there any hands going up?
Good evening. I'm Roshane Gardner mother. I'm asking her if any Saturday class out there.
No, not at grade 10, not at this stage. When I get to grade 11, we will have evening classes and Saturday classes for them in grade 11.
So,
all right?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have any question they need to ask? Just raise your hand and we can identify you. Nobody, everybody's satisfied, everything that they have heard, they understand every single thing that was done. Now is the time to ask these questions, don't be shy. Very interesting. No, normally I'm getting more questions than I can manage, but in this case, nobody's asking any question.
Sir, how much percent is it again for stage 2?
Stage 2, 50 to 70%.
All right, sir. Thank you.
And 30 to 100 for stage 3.
Thanks, sir.
Sorry, 70 to 100. Sorry, for stage 3. All right. Anybody have any question? Other question? Antoinette?
Sir.
Hi.
Antoinette,
I
go
would
ahead.
like to find, good evening. I would like to find out if you didn't talk anything much about the NCTVET. I know it's like most of the vocational area, but NCTVET, what is the cost? Because I didn't hear the cost for the NCTVET.
All right, good. All right, mute and let me answer that one. All right, excellent. So the NCTVET now, I wanted the NCTVET teacher to be a part of this, but he was unavailable. So NCTVET again is one that all our students have an opportunity to do. All our students are doing either welding, woodwork, electrical, data operation, which is a computer-based subject, foods, cake decoration, I think them call one of them, cosmetology, whatever. All our students have an opportunity to do this. At this stage, I think the only thing that the students have to pay is a practical fee to help with the practical part of it. I think a part of it is paid for by the government, by the subsidy. So I think part of it is paid for by the government, and there's a next part that is only a practical fee that the parent have to contribute to. Practical fee meaning if they're doing electrical, it contributes to buying the wires and stuff like that for them to do the practical in class, because there's a practical component. So similarly to CXC, where there's a SBA component that is marked, with NCTVET, there are practical areas that have to be marked, right? So if they're doing cosmetology, they have to have their ear and nail products and stuff like that that they use on their clients, and they have to demonstrate how it is used or whatever. So a lot of time they have to contribute to some of the costs for some of these materials, all right? And then the government will pay for the actual cost for paying for the exam, all right? So the student would do, I believe in grade 10, they would do cluster 1, and grade 11, they do a cluster 2, or they do a cluster 1 and cluster 2 in grade 11. The cluster is just a section of the exam. So they do one section in grade 10, one section in grade 11, or they do both sections in grade 11, right? By about August or September, we'll have our next meeting, and that NCTVET coordinator can give you some more information on that one. But just understand that it is paid for by the government, and what you would require to pay is a fee towards the practical area of the examination. And all our students have an opportunity to do one, and I think some students have an opportunity to do 2 NCTVET subjects, which are all covered as well. All right. Lanisha, you're welcome.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My daughter was placed in grade 10B. She wants to do CXC, so she's been trying really hard to work her way up. She was placed in 10N Monday. They're having exam now. She's at home. She's not feeling well. She left school early yesterday. So I'm saying now, exam would basically, CSEC would basically start from the beginning of grade 10. And she wasn't able to get all of those practice and notes and all of that. Would she be able to still do CSEC, being that she is moved up in the class?
All right. You know, there's a young girl that came to me and spoke to me about the same thing since week. I'm not sure if it's the same young lady. I told her to speak to the grade coordinator in trying to get to our next class. So I'm hoping that this is her and she actually got through with that. So what the situation will be is that the grades that she would have been getting over grade 10, would be for those subjects in the previous class that she was in. Right now, she's going to be doing other subjects that she's not going to have grades for. So what she needs to do is to speak to each teacher to find out what assignments are outstanding in that area that she can do to help to build up her grades. So if she's just going to be joining, for example, an accounts class, and she wasn't doing the accounts before, or a social studies class, and she wasn't doing social studies before, she can find out from the teacher, explain the situation, find out what assignments are outstanding that she can do, that she can use to help to build up her grades so that she can get recommended comfortable for the subject area. That is our best chance right now. She needs to build up her grades. So she needs to spend some serious time with the teacher, talking to the teacher, getting some assignments done in order to build up her grades. And through doing the assignments and building up her grades, it should help her enough when it comes time for her to do her final exam at the end of the school year. It should help her enough. But she have to work closer with the teachers. All right?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, no problem. Mr. Cross?
Sir, children in 10G will be getting CXC, sir.
Yes, so all 10G students will be doing human and social bio and social studies in addition in CXC, in addition to the math and the English in City and Guilds. And I think 10G, you do data operation or EDPM.
So, but we're not getting any SB and they're not getting any SB.
Hold on, you're doing data operation or you do EDPM?
Data operation, sir.
Okay, so it means that you're doing math and English in City and Guilds, you're doing social studies and human and social studies bio in CSEC. So you have to do a SB for those two subjects, and you're doing data operation and your vocation area in NCTVET. So you have a practical to do for those areas as well. So you have
sir, I paid for a cluster one in welding already, sir.
Good. So you have that. Excellent. So you have that coming up in June to do then, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. You're there on top of it. So make sure that when the SBAs are given for social studies and human and social bio, you start them as soon as possible so that you don't end up in any problems. All right? You sound like a smart person. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good, good. Anybody else? Any questions? All right. I'm not seeing any questions, so I can wrap up here. So let me just finally say, thank you very much for coming on. One more issue before I go. Parents. So at Injury School right now, we have a situation, I say, our computer lab, the computer lab that we use to do all our information technology, data operation, and EDPM, we have two computer labs, lab 2 and lab 3, we call them. Both computer labs were set up about 10 years ago, to be very honest. And over the time, we have been trying our very best to update and keep them up to date. But unfortunately, because of the age of some of these computers, they tend to go down, and they're giving a little bit of disadvantage to your children right now. So if your child, all our grade 10 students do computer, one subject or the other for computer, either IT, EDPM, or data operation. So they're at a small disadvantage, especially as it comes now that they're going into grade 11, where they're going to be using the computers more to do their SBAs. And at the end of grade 11, your child will be doing what's called e-exams. So CXC is introducing some things we call e-exam, which means that for some of the exams that they're going to do for like CXC, they're not going to be doing a written paper anymore. They're going to be doing the exams on the computer, directly on the computer, like EDPM, IT, I think maths by that time, social, so a couple other subjects they're going to be doing directly on the computer, no longer paper-based, right? Which means that we need to find a way to give our children the best opportunities by giving them the best computers possible to do these exams. Now, unfortunately, as I explained before, we don't have a strong past student association. So we can call upon some of the past students and say, buy a computer and send come here, whatever the case is. We have to find the money out of the school's pocket to buy these computers. And right now, it is almost next to impossible. So let me explain to you exactly what has happened. Over the years, as part of the school fee package, all parents are supposed to pay a part of the school fee package, pay a part of it is supposed to go towards the computer lab, what they call it information technology fee, right? because the government came out and tell people say them not have to pay no more school fee, because it's true, the ministry does pay the school fee for all of the students, but there are other fees as well that help to run the school that the government don't pay for, like the information technology fee. So because the government don't pay that and the parents have stopped paying that, we have no funds at all to buy the computers that we need. Now, I feel that as part of the set of students, grade 10 students who are going to be using these computers the most at this stage for the rest of grade 10 and going into grade 11, I feel that we need to be more proactive. We need to find a way to raise this money on our own to make this happen. Instead of sitting and waiting on the ministry to do it for us, which has not been working out for us so far, we need to find a way to come up with this money on our own. So I'm feeling that we need to help ourselves, basically. So I am reaching out to all our grade 10 parents and guardians at this time for a contribution, right? I'm going to send you a letter, a formal letter to you through your student. Your child going to carry it home to you. You can read it, fill it out with whatever amount you choose to contribute, and send it back to us at the school. All right, I'm going to send it to you with something that you can fill out with your name, your contact number, and everything. We'll send it back to the school. We collect the money, we stamp it, and send it back to you as a receipt so you can verify that the money was paid. The only way that we are going to get these computers, parents, is if we come together and try to do this for ourselves. I have already been trying with some KXCs that we're doing right now, but it's far from what it's supposed to be. It's not enough, right? So we need some direct contribution from you, our parents, in order to make this happen. So look out before the end of the week. I'm going to send out those letters to you. Look out for it, read it, and we hope to get some good contributions from you in order to build what we need to do. And go forward with this, all right? I think it's a good idea, and I feel that we can get some generous contributions from you, our parents, so we look forward to that. On that note, is there anything else before we wrap up? Anybody have any question before we wrap up? All right, I'm not seeing any question at this time. All right, somebody was asking a question in the text, but we're going to try to answer that in the text, so you can go ahead and read that. But in the meantime, I want to thank you very much for coming out. I hope you took notes. I hope you were listening, paying attention to some of our concerns. I hope you also have some good ideas on how you can help us to fix some of these issues. So feel free, if you need to speak to me directly, my number is in the chat. My number is the one that sent the Zoom link. So I'm the exam coordinator, Mr. Remick. You can reach out to me. You don't have to reach out to me in the chat. You can reach out to me directly, WhatsApp me directly. If your child is in 10I NRS under the information technology and want to know how they are performing, you can WhatsApp me as well. I can give some information. SBA topic. Okay, somebody. All right, so the parent I was asking about the information technology topic. You can reach out to me or WhatsApp me directly and we can speak about that. All right. So I thank you all very much for coming out. I hope you got a lot of information from this. I hope you can plan to go forward with what you need to do for your child. All right. So
hello,
day.
Sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm hearing you. May I hear you? The person. All right, I wasn't hearing you. All right, so on that note, thank you very much for coming out, and we can now close. Have a blessed day. Thank you. Take care. All right, the parents are asking about the topic for IT SBA. The topic we're working on this series for our health center. So everything that we're doing in spreadsheet and the brochures and the website will be centered around the health center. All right, they would have gotten the topic already. They would have gotten some videos to watch. They would have gotten the actual from 10S. They would have gotten the actual SBA as well. So you can reach out to me, tell me the child's name. I can tell you if they've been doing any work. All right. All right. So everybody, thank you very much. Have a good night.